And that's kind of what the whole crux of this episode is about, being the dumbest one in the room and really struggling with that. And I think so many of us are discovering that we have a variety of different containers, definitions, and labels that we fall into or potentially identify with. And some of those can feel like a pretty strong barrier to success, a hindrance to our ability in showing up the way that we might feel like we quote unquote should or wished we could, right? I think we are also learning to play with some of the concepts or labels that might have felt insulting, that might have felt more like a disability than a diverse ability. And being dumb is not only something that has actually been a huge advantage to me personally, but I think gives us this really interesting opportunity to kind of re-examine and redefine the ways that we might have identified ourselves. I hope that you walk away with this feeling a little bit challenged, and not in like a negative hard way, but in a like, where else am I doing this? Where else am I giving myself excuses? Or where else am I criticizing how I operate in this world because that's been assigned to me, or because I have felt like I'm behind as a result? It might seem counterintuitive that being labeled as quote unquote dumb can actually bring about hidden advantages that can contribute to your personal growth and do encourage your own self-improvement. But that is exactly what we are going to dig into now. So stick with me to discover these secret advantages of being dumb, being underestimated, being written off, because it will not only impact the way that you learn and your ability to learn, but also your resilience and your self-confidence. Because it's not just about working smarter. It's also about discovering how you can truly succeed being you. So with that, I mean, you have definitely heard you want to be the dumbest person in the room, but I'm sure you've also felt like the dumbest person in the room, and it's not what I describe as being a positive experience. It's pretty easy and trite for people like me to get in behind a microphone and tell you to surround yourself with people that are better than you, more experienced than you, more successful than you. But when that happens, it's intimidating as fuck. And we might feel afraid to speak up. Or more importantly, kind of the whole advantage of doing something like that is we might be intimidated and not want to ask questions. So that does bring me to point number 2, that when we acknowledge our lack of expertise in a certain area, we literally quantum leap our up level and our growth. We basically say, hey, I'm here at a lower point and I'd like to be here at a higher point. I have watched people really take advantage of the fact that they think they're dumb, because it forces you, like it's this term that I use regularly, it's this creative constraint. Well, if I can't match them on an intellectual level, how can I work around that? How can I flow around this potential obstacle? We have this beginner's mindset. We have this leverage now from supporting and helping ourselves, and in so doing that for others. But who cares, right? So what? It's almost like going right back to the beginning. We've almost accepted a failure in ourselves. We've gone, okay, well, this isn't something I'm going to address. Like, I'm not going to study harder. I'm not going to keep trying. I'm just going to go, okay, that's part of me, and I'm going to focus on these other things that I can do. This willingness to accept defeat and keep moving is part of the learning process just in general. It's our own success strategy. And I think it shows us that nothing can really keep us from what we desire except for ourselves going, okay, well, I can't ever do anything because I'm dumb. It's like, okay, well, I'm dumb, but like I'm really strong, or I'm really networked, or I'm really great. I might be dumb at writing, but I'm really great at this technical stuff. And that resilience, that self-belief and self-faith builds this character, this avatar that is ultimately confident. You understand not only is failure not the end, but it's actually a stepping stone towards growth.